It is no secret that One Piece Wano looks good. It is also no secret that it is the best looking and most consistent weekly production of all time. And with the most recent episode that has aired with a pretty stacked staff, it only further solidifies how good the series looks. Which is really impressive because we haven't hit the heights of what the series is going to look like this year. However, we're talking about the visuals of the most recent episode of One Piece, which might be old to you guys depending on how long it takes for this video to come out. But with that being said, let's get into the visuals. Right off the bat, the storyboards are incredibly strong with this episode. You can pretty much tell immediately right away, especially given the horrific actions that are taking place on screen. Also, I love the subtle shaking of the camera. It presents unease. And yeah, if you were viewing people getting shot, you'd also feel unease, let's be honest. We shift over to Sanji versus Queen. And right off the bat, we are gifted with some pretty strong character acting. Obviously, this is impressive because Queen doesn't have the same anatomy that people do. So obviously, it's a lot more difficult to pull off this kind of character acting. We enter the first bit of actual action this episode, starting out with some nice impact frames as the beams generate some pretty nice effects animation. This next cut is a bit limited, but the wind effects are incredibly nice. This next scene is incredibly smooth with tons of Katsuna lightning. The effects animation is obviously very good. I don't think I need to point that out every second of the episode, but the amount of Katsuna lightning is still pretty impressive. As we then transition to Naotoshi Shida's scene. Naotoshi Shida is a veteran with a pretty distinct style. While his scenes are devoid of things like smears, he has pretty unique shading and twists his characters into pretty ridiculous arcs while using things like action lines and animating in all ones to give an insane sense of fluidity. Obviously, most fans are pretty capable of telling when Naotoshi Shida is animating because it's pretty obvious distinct style. While I said I wasn't going to point out the effects animation every time, I am going to point out Naotoshi Shida's. Also, I love this incredible cut with Queen spinning around as his arm is gone. More Naotoshi Shida greatness follows, with some stunning background animation this time, and pretty much everything I stated before. The insane sense of fluidity as drawing in all ones, the action lines, the ridiculous effects that have really good arcs, everything is all here. Next scene is just more fire effects and impact frames, which must have been hell. Love the cut after the commercial break. As Queen seemingly turns invisible, you get this really cool scene where Sanji is looking around the room and the background is rotating. The next cut was done by Semi-Automatic, and let's talk about this guy for a bit. Context, this is the man that brought ODM Sakuga back to Attack on Titan, and delivers strong effects to this scene as well. Specifically this cut, as I love the wind effects along with the great background movement. The scene was very impressive to me. Animated by Tomeyuki Takahashi, we get some more really good effects. I pretty much sound like a broken record this video, with some incredible smears that kind of remind me of Yutapon. This scene is particularly impressive considering the fact that this animator doesn't really have a lot credited to their name, so the fact that they've improved so much in a short amount of time is something that's worth noting. We now enter the best cut of the episode. To absolutely nobody's surprise, this scene was animated by animator Akihiro Ota, who already did one of the best cuts in One Piece this year, but decided that wasn't enough. His line work and effects are completely different to everybody else in the anime, honestly reminding me of Keiichi Watanabe. And while the debris effects are really impressive, we're not done here, as Sanji runs up Queen with his arm being treated as the background animation. I love this. Every single scene is accompanied with some really good debris effects and his unique style of smears and line work. I also find it funny that when Queen gets kicked away, the rock on the side has Ota's line work on it. Obviously, there were some people who didn't like this scene, and why? Because it looks different. Ota draws his characters in entirely different ways than everybody else. If you take a screenshot of Sanji, he does not look like Sanji. The way he's once again similar to Keiichi Watanabe, who's distinctly different than everybody else he animates with. Anyway, yeah, this looks great. Haters can cry in the corner. The next scene carries on a very painting-like aesthetic and is really complemented by the really good art direction. Also, remember what I said about the storyboard? Okay, I'll shut up. Also, love the dichotomy here. Sanji being told he's a failure in scenes like this, the scenery turns into a bluish color. However, as Sanji finds his resolve, this scene warms up quite literally with warmer colors being placed on the screen. Our final scene transports us to Fire Force momentarily. With the fire around Sanji's leg, we get our nice bit of character acting from Queen, we get some fantastic background animation, and this last kick completely changes the line work as we transition to some ridiculously thick brushstrokes. As our screaming match Tengen and Gyutaro style is what closes out the fight. Also, more background animation because why not? A fantastic scene to end the fight by this animator whose name I won't even attempt to pronounce. And with that being said, that closes out the rest of the episode. I don't know if this is a hot take, but this is probably the best animated episode of One Piece that is aired this year. And given the staff list for the next episode, I'm probably going to spin back around and do another One Piece video. However, with that being said, I'd love to know what you guys think about this episode. And if you're new to the channel and you enjoy the video, please make sure to leave a like and subscribe and ring that notification bell so you get caught up on every post. as we're approaching 600 subs and I love to keep putting out videos, and that would help me continue to make them. That being said, I'm Debunked by Aaron, and I'm signing out.